Right, esteemed members, good evening. Thank you so much for joining today's webinar. If you can hear me, kindly just send a message on the chat. Let us know which branch of PSK you're joining us from. Right, thank you. See Dr. Rose Kacher from Central Rift, Dr. Christopher Tamburu, Karibuni Sana, Dr. Beatrice and Dr. Prudence from Nairobi branch, Karibuni Sana. Lawi from Nyanza branch, welcome. So I see you have a lot of responses. I may not be able to go through all of them, but thank you so much for the feedback. Welcome to this webinar. Meanwhile, you can remind your colleagues that we are getting started. And also, as we wait to start, if you've not subscribed to the event on the PPB portal, kindly do so. Use the keyword cold chain, and you'll be able to find the events on the portal. For those who are joining, thank you very much. If you've not subscribed to the event, kindly do so. Use the search keyword code on the PPB portal, and you should be able to subscribe to this event. All right, I see we have a good number now, so we're just going to get started. So first, I'd like to thank you all for creating time and being able to join this webinar. And today's webinar is on cold chain storage of pharmaceutical products. And this event, we partnered with SureChill. For this session, we have a speaker from SureChill. His name is Fola Olwaru, and he's the Medical Business Development Manager at SureChill East Africa. And I believe some of you got to interact with them during the conference. So this time round, I think you'll just also be refreshing your knowledge on management of cold chain products. So again, just to remind you, for those who've joined, if you've not subscribed to the PPB portal, kindly do so. Use the keyword cold, and you should be able to find it easy. Just to remind you that you'll be muted during the entire course of this session. So if you have any question, kindly use the Q&A tab, which is at the bottom of your window, and all the questions will be addressed at the end of the session. Please note that this event is being recorded, and it will be made available on the PSK YouTube page. So just a brief on the agenda. We'll be having Fola Olwaru and Harry Jones, who will be presenting. So keep your questions ready. If you have any question, kindly use the Q&A tab. And then with regards to the CPDs, the email addresses that you registered with are the ones where we're going to send the CPDs. So there's no need of you to send your email addresses on the chat. So at this point, I'd like to welcome our speaker for the day, Fowler. If you can hear me, Fowler.
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, thank you. Maybe you can share your slides and you can go ahead.
Okay.
Welcome.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. My name is Fowler Orwaru, and I am the Medical Business Development Manager for East Africa at Churchill. I'm delighted to welcome you all to today's webinar on cold chain storage of pharmaceutical products. And I'm grateful to the Pharmaceutical Society of Kenya for organizing this and inviting us to do a presentation. So joining me in this call, I have my team with me. We have Fonom Dieng, our Senior Medical Commercial Director. We have Kerry Jones on the call as well, who is our Chief Commercial Officer, and Samuel Nderi, our Technical Manager for East Africa. So they will be assisting me with parts of the presentation, and they'll also be available to answer questions during the Q&A session. Thank you. Thank you all for joining us, and I look forward to a fruitful session. So I think today's goal for this session will just be to highlight the importance of maintaining an effective cold chain for pharmaceuticals and to just share insights into the components of a robust cold chain system. So we also want to take this opportunity just to introduce to you our innovative solutions that we offer as SureChill to ensure that the drugs and pharmaceuticals remain effective and safe for patient use. So this is just a snapshot of what we'll cover today, and yeah, let's dive into it. So I think just before we get into it, I would like to bring up a few polls. So can we have the polls, please? Good. So here just I just want to begin by bringing alive what we mean by cold storage and why it's important and why we're looking into this today. So the first poll really is on how much the global pharmaceutical industry loses annually due to failures in temperature control logistics. Then the second one is what percentage of vaccines are degraded by the time they reach their destination. So please take your time to respond to this poll, and then we'll proceed once we have your answers and responses. Thank you. Okay, do we have the results in?
Yes, just, let me share that. Right.
Okay,
There.
yeah, good. This is interesting. Okay, so actually, in terms of financial costs, the correct answer here is C, and this is according to Air Cargo News. The global biopharmaceutical industry incurs losses of approximately 35 billion annually due to failures in temperature control logistics. So these losses encompass product loss, clinical trial setbacks, and replacement costs. You can imagine what $35 billion can do. So yeah, that's a huge amount. Do we have results in for the second poll?
Yes, maybe you can just scroll down.
Okay.
I should be able to see it. Is it visible on your end?
Yes.
Okay.
No, just a minute.
Okay.
Okay. Oh yes, now it's visible. So, second poll on what percentage of vaccines are degraded. So yeah, I see the diverse responses to this as well. So the correct response here was B. So this is according to American Pharmaceutical Review. It is estimated that around 25% of vaccines are degraded by the time they reach their destination, due to improper shipping procedures. Um, Thank you very much for your responses. So I'll just proceed to the next slide. So cold storage. What do we talk about when we're talking about cold storage? What are we referring to? So to me and to us here at Churchill, cold storage is all about keeping pharmaceutical products at specific controlled temperatures just to maintain their efficacy and safety. And this is crucial for the stability of drugs that are temperature sensitive, uh, and vaccines and biologics as well. So without this, the products can degrade and lose their potency and become unsafe for use with patients. So there's several common challenges that we've identified when it comes to cold storage, and these are challenges that lead to inefficiencies and wastage. So first of all, we have environmental factors, and here we see power outages as a major issue, especially in regions that have unstable electricity supplies. So frequent power interruptions can actually disrupt temperature control systems, and extreme weather conditions like recently when we had the floods here in Kenya can challenge even the most robust systems available. So next issue we face is temperature fluctuations and inadequate storage facilities. So often, at most times, temperature sensitive medicines are stored in what we actually see here in Kenya and East Africa at large is that most temperature sensitive medicines are stored in conventional fridges, what we call the domestic or kitchen units. And these fridges are actually not designed for this purpose, and they lead to suboptimal conditions of storage for the drugs. So another significant challenge we see is a lack of proper monitoring and data logging. And without continuous oversight, it is very difficult to ensure that temperature conditions remain within safe ranges. And this can actually happen when this happens. These changes, these excursions can go undetected and compromise product quality. Lastly, there's an issue of costs. So this cold chain equipment and infrastructure are expensive to run. So ensuring proper cold storage usually involves significant investment in terms of infrastructure and equipment, and not just the initial costs incurred during purchase, but ongoing maintenance. And this can be a significant financial burden. So I think that by addressing these challenges, we can improve the efficiency and reliability of cold storage systems and ensure that pharmaceuticals that require cold storage remain safe and effective for patient use. So just as a summary, um, addressing these challenges will guarantee that pharmaceuticals remain safe and effective for patient use. Thank you. So just before I handle the next subject, I would like to do another poll. Can we bring up the polls, please? Okay, so please take a moment to submit your answers. Very good. Do we have the poll results in, please?
Yes. Let me just end it, and then you can get the feedback.
Yeah, I'm sure this is going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, yeah.
Ah, here we are. So, yeah, actually, yes. So, the correct answer is actually the percentage of the Kenyan population that does not have access to reliable electricity is 24%. So, the correct answer here is C. And this is actually from our in data. The data they have on Kenya is that about 24% of the Kenyan population struggles with access to reliable electricity. And this is a significant challenge for maintaining effective cold storage systems. So especially in remote areas where power outages are common, we see it happening all the time. Just in my case, I had a power outage today just as I was preparing for this presentation. And yeah, so this was unexpected for me. Then second poll. So the correct response here is D, and I see a very good proportion of you got it right. So actually, this is data from EPRA, the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority. It shows that in the year ending June 2023, the average number of unplanned power outages per customer in Kenya was 44.9. When you think about this, this is actually roughly one unplanned power outage per week for the average KPLC customer. So these high number of outages highlight the challenges that are faced by the power infrastructure in Kenya. So frequent power outages can severely impact the storage of temperature-sensitive pharmaceuticals and vaccines, and this can lead to potential losses and compromised efficacy. So this is why reliable solutions such as what we are going to showcase to you here today, the Pharma Fridge, are essential to mitigate these risks and ensure that drugs remain safe and effective. So now let's look at the consequences of poor cold storage management. So what does this actually mean for your pharmacies, for your hospitals? So we believe that proper cold storage isn't just a guideline, it's a lifeline for your pharmacy success and reputation and your patients' well-being. And when we fail to properly manage cold storage, several serious issues can arise. Top on the agenda, of course, is the matter of loss of potency. So reduced drug efficacy, just as an example, during in 2016, during the World Health Organization polio vaccine campaign in Chad, a significant percentage of vaccines were exposed to temperature outside the recommended range. And this exposure led to vaccines becoming ineffective, and this caused a delay in the immunization program and contributed to a resurgence in polio cases in the region. Secondly, we have increased risk of adverse effects. And case in point here was a study published in the Journal of Pharmaceutical Sciences in 2019. And this study highlighted issues with improperly stored insulin in the United States. So insulin stored outside the recommended temperature range degrades chemically. It degraded chemically, and this reduced its potency. And this led to patients experiencing unexpected fluctuations in blood glucose levels. Consequently, there were more emergency hospital visits and further severe health complications. Next, we have financial losses due to spoiled drugs. So a case in point here was Johnson and Johnson in 2017, who faced a significant financial losses. A batch of temperature-sensitive oncology drugs was exposed to temperatures above the recommended range during transportation. So this malfunction in the refrigeration system meant that the entire batch that was valued at approximately $15 million had to be discarded. And this incident not only resulted in the loss of the drugs, but also disrupted the entire supply chain and impacted logistics and handling costs. So over and above, poor cold storage management can lead to regulatory non-compliance and potential legal issues. So a notable example here was Sanofi Pasteur in 2013. The company faced significant regulatory and legal repercussions due to non-compliance with cold chain management regulation. And this was during vaccine distribution. And they were fined $19 million for breaching good distribution practices. And besides that, they lost 1.5 million doses of vaccines that had to be recalled. And this resulted in them incurring direct costs of an estimated $25 million. And this recall caused major supply disruptions, and it affected immunization programs in multiple regions. Additionally, there were lawsuits that were filed against Sanofi Pasteur, not just by healthcare providers, but also patients. And consequently, it resulted in settlements of approximately $30 million. So this incident also led to a significant drop in their market share and severely damaged the company's reputation. And this led to a loss of trust amongst healthcare professionals and the public. So in summary, poor cold storage management can have severe consequences, not just on drug efficacy, but also increased adverse effects for the patients and financial losses, regulatory non-compliance, and legal issues. And I think the examples I've just highlighted here they highlight the critical importance of maintaining an effective cold storage management to ensure the drugs are safe and effective. Good. So I'd like to bring up another poll before going on to the next topic. So can we have that, please? Good. So moving on to our next poll questions. What is the recommended storage temperature range for insulin to ensure its efficacy? And the other one is regarding storage of blood and blood products. What temperature do they need to be stored to ensure they're safe and effective? So please take a moment to select your answer. Excellent. Do we have the responses in?
Yes, just sharing in a bit.
Okay. Good, good. So most of you got this right. Yeah, this is all this is almost all of you. Good, very good. Thank you. So for insulin, and various health guidelines, the storage should be at a temperature range of 2 to 8 degrees to maintain its efficacy. And proper storage within this temperature range is, of course, crucial to just ensure that it doesn't chemically degrade and lose potency and have potential health risks for patients who rely on it to manage their blood glucose. So next poll was on blood and blood products. This was attracted a bit diverse responses. So the correct answer here is 2 to 6 degrees B. So according to guidelines from the World Health Organization, blood and blood products need to be stored at between 2 and 6 degrees Celsius. And this actually ensures that blood is effective and safe when given to patients. So maintaining this temperature range is very crucial for preserving the safety and efficacy of blood and blood products for patients that need it. So summary here is just that the proper temperature control for insulin and blood, as I mentioned in the previous slide, is very critical to ensure that these products remain safe and effective for use with patients. So thank you. So I think this concludes my part of the presentation. And just to bring alive what I've been talking about and how we as SureChill have attempted to address the challenges that are faced with cold storage, Kerry will touch on a few more points on what solution we have come up with, what innovative solutions we've come up with as SureChill. And yeah, let's listen in. Welcome, Kerry.
Thanks very much. Can everybody hear me? I'm going to just swap and share my screen. So hopefully you can see. So yeah, well, I'm Kerry Jones. I'm the commercial director for SureChill. I'm really excited to be here. So thanks to Fowler, I think he really clearly set out why cold chain management needs to be considered, the potential pitfalls in the poor management of and the implications of poor management of the cold chain, both financially, but more importantly, the human cost. What we don't want to do at SureChill is be all doom and gloom. So we know it's a really challenging and difficult thing to manage, but actually there are some real tools that we can do to address this. And actually this is what we're really passionate about doing at SureChill. And it was through observing and looking at these challenges over a long period of time that SureChill came about, and that we started, and that's how we were kind of born out. So SureChill is a business. SureChill as a business started by looking at the cold chain within that vaccine space. We've been driven by the need to have effective and sustainable cold chains in all areas, and have equitable access to cooling. So Fowler very, very concretely highlighted actually that there are solutions out there. So there are solutions that can provide effective cold storage. Vaccine storage has been developed, and it is being modernized all the time, but often that is beyond the reach of people. So we started by addressing the needs for really good vaccine storage that could solve the problem of power outages, and that could extend cooling when there is no power. But we also wanted to do that in the most cost-effective and sustainable way. So we actually don't cool the way that traditional refrigerators do, and we have actually turned cooling on its head. So we're renowned for being an innovative and and driven kind of cooling storage solution. So we started about 15 years ago, as I said. We designed cooling technology in a way that addresses those problems, the temperature stability, etc. And from that standing start, we're now active in over 75 countries. We've safeguarded over 10 million children through vaccines that have been protected in our fridges. And we have delivered estimate about 160 million safe and protected and effective vaccines into the arms of those children. We then moved on and started to develop our cooling into domestic and commercial fridges, and it's in that space that we're able now to kind of bring a hybrid of our vaccine fridges and our pharma fridges to you. So the cold storage solution, in the next couple of slides, I'm going to explain how Churchill address the cooling needs in the pharmacy setting. So we heard from Fowler that actually some of the big issues within that cooling space were cost, but also that actually vaccine cold chains were not suitable for a large majority of those markets. They were perhaps beyond the reach of people financially, but also could be too big for the purposes that they actually required. We heard also how people turn to proxy solutions and how proxy solutions have been adopted. So the use of commercial fridges and domestic fridges, which aren't actually fit for purpose, so can't be relied on to store medicines effectively because they don't have that reliance and aren't able to regulate their temperatures. So whilst we've been working in this space, we're regularly out in the field, we're regularly visiting pharmacists, health clinics, etc. And we see that the fridges are often in excess of 20 degrees. And again, our passion for cold chain and wanting to address this, one of our big drivers has been to bring our technology in a high performing, cost effective solution. So I've mentioned our technology quite a lot. And I'm going to explain how it works. So I mentioned a little bit earlier that our fridges aren't like normal fridges. We actually ripped up the rule book and started to do something different. You'll see a couple of illustrations on this slide, and on the illustration on the left-hand slide as you look at it is a fridge cut in half, and that actually is to demonstrate how our vaccine fridges work, how our fridges work. So what we do, and when I tell my friends how we cool, they look at me as if I'm weird. So what we did was we looked at how we could solve the challenge of cooling by turning to nature, and we looked at what happens in nature and with water and ice when they're in the same container together. So I've got a glass on my desk here that's got water in it, and it's a really, really hot day here in the UK, and remarkably. And what I've done to cool my water down is dropped a piece of ice into that water. It's quite happily now sitting at the top of my glass, but it's slowly melting. And as the ice is melting, it is melting and it's becoming a temperature of 4 degrees. And when water is at its heaviest, it's 4 degrees. So what's happening in my glass is any warm water is warming up. That's warming up is rising to the top like warm air does. And that cold water, that water that's melting from the ice, is falling to the bottom because it's at 4 degrees, and it's regulating the temperature in my glass at 4 degrees. And so that is, as Fowler, you'll recall from Fowler's presentation and from that poll, the sweet spot for medicines to be stored is between 2 to 8. And so 4 is the perfect in the perfect middle of that 4 to 8 degrees. And so, yes, if we go back to looking at that illustration, what you've got there is actually we've cut our fridge, inside our fridge, we have an internal compartment. And in that internal compartment, we then fill that compartment with water. We do that once, and once we've filled that water once, it will last the lifetime of the fridge. And then what we do then is we use power to run the compressor, and that power runs the compressor and cools the water down so that it makes pieces of ice within that water. And then that piece of ice within that water will cool the fridge. And that's how, when power is not available, as long as there is ice in that water, the compartment, the internal storage compartment, which is being cooled by the water, will be at 4 degrees. So in the middle of the slide, you will see a pink graph, and what's happening on that pink graph is an illustration of how a normal fridge works. So the wiggly line is the conventional fridge, and then the blue line running underneath it is the Churchill fridge. So what happens is a normal fridge will come down to temperature. It will the temperature will be cooled because the air in the fridge will have been cooled, but people will be using that fridge, opening the door, so that fridge will warm up, and it will warm up quite quickly. And once it hits a temperature threshold where the thermometer goes, I'm too warm now, it will cool down. And then it will get to the cold temperature, and it will run while it's cooling down. Then it will warm up, it will cool down, it will warm up, it will cool down. And because Fowler outlined earlier, just that we're dealing in extreme temperatures, we're dealing in high ambient temperatures, then of course, when we're in those temperatures and when we're dealing with those temperatures, the fridge will be working much harder. It will be warming up, cooling down, warming up. So it continually needs to take power. Unlike the Churchill fridge, once we've made that thermal energy store, that fridge will then be able to stay cold for as long as there's ice. So what we look to do every day is replenish that ice. And we only need between 4 to 6 hours a day to do that. So that's how we can offer our fridge and say that our fridge can work when there's not constant power. And so it was a simple idea, and the ice allows us to offer cooling without having to worry about going in and out of temperatures. And because of the unique way our fridge is cool, we don't need to worry about that temperature stability. So just on this slide, I'm going to run through some of the attributes that our Churchill fridge, our Pharma fridge, can bring to the cooling chain. So temperature stability, I've talked about how we're able to regulate that temperature, how we're able to maintain a really secure temperature of 4 degrees and very rarely deviate from that. We're able to offer freeze-free guarantee. So we know about the fact that vaccines need to be within that 2 to 8 degree. What is less well known is when they exceed 8 degrees, what happens is they slowly degrade. So they degrade, and obviously the warmer they get, the more degradation that happens. But what is more damaging and what is more worrying is actually when a fridge or when a vaccine or medicine temperature sensitive medicine freezes. If that happens, then actually all efficacy is lost. So actually ice and freezing the vaccine can be quite and medicine can be very, very dangerous. We're able to offer the fridge in either an AC, which is a mains powered version, or solar. So our mains powered version is really useful where you have variable access to power. So a bit like Fowler a little bit earlier on, where he had the power cut. So if you're plagued by power cuts, or if you're worried about say storage over the weekend and power going out, then actually our mains powered fridge can be a really good way of maintaining and looking after that. We don't need batteries. So the fact that we have what I call the thermal energy store, or some people call it an ice battery, we're able to provide backup and continue to cool without the need to rely on batteries, which can be expensive and unreliable, or turn into in some areas generators, which are obviously costly to run, very noisy and very bad for the environment. So how long can that fridge last without power? So this fridge can last up to 48 hours without power. So if you went home on a Friday and your power went out on a Friday evening, Monday morning when you came in, your fridge would still be cold enough and still maintaining its temperature. Some of our vaccine fridges, so some of our bigger vaccine fridges, can actually go up to 12 days without power. The fridge can be supplied with a fridge tag, which is this yellow device on the right-hand side. Now what that tag enables you to do is actually monitor the temperature within your fridge. It takes temperature readings on a regular basis. I think it's intervals of every 2 minutes. It takes those temperature readings and it records them. And it will keep that recording for up to 30 days. Now that can be hugely helpful for you guys managing your cold chain to make sure that your fridges are all working properly, that you haven't got a fridge that's going out of temperature range. It also comes with, it's programmable. So it comes with the ability to be able to set the temperature to a temperature range of your choice, and then it will an alarm will go off and it will let you know that it's either gone out of temperature range, or perhaps somebody's left the door open, so you can set it so you're aware of any variances in the temperature that could be worrying. We guarantee that the fridge will last for up to 10 years. We've tested this. It's suitable for the last mile. It's suitable for those rural communities, and it will operate and work effectively for 10 years. And it's a cost-effective solution. So as Fowler outlined earlier on, vaccine solutions can be hugely expensive to procure, but also to run. What we've done is we've combined the technology that we have within those vaccine spaces that we produce for the World Health Organization, etc., and brought it into a much more kind of affordable and wide-scale product for people to be able to access. What I wanted to do, though, was also not only talk about or for you to hear from me. I wanted to be able to demonstrate. Actually, I always believe that the proof is in the pudding, and I wanted to show you a real life customer experience here and bring this to life for you. So we launched these fridges about 6 months ago in Nigeria, and we were contacted by a lady from a pharmacy in Lagos. Now, we heard about how problematic energy is in Kenya, but in Nigeria, I think we can all agree it's much more problematic. So this lady was actually in the middle of Lagos, but was experiencing or was only having about 8 to 10 hours a day power. It was extremely worrying for her. The Pharmacist Association there had identified that her fridges weren't being kept in temperature, so she was quite worried about it, she had problems where the power would go out before she went home on a Friday, or as she went home at the weekend, she would hear of power outages and she would then have to run to the pharmacy in order to make sure that she could remove her medicine and put it into other containers that wouldn't be affected by the lack of power. So she was really worried about this and was quite constrained. So she approached us, but she didn't quite believe the performance of the fridge and that we could guarantee cooling, that it wouldn't freeze the vaccines, and that it wouldn't go out of that temperature range. So what we suggested to her was that she actually take a fridge of ours and that she actually look to test it. So she had our fridge and she ran our test alongside testing her fridge, so she could compare like for like. She had temperature monitors, those temperature monitors that I showed you. She put those temperature monitors in into the fridge. And she ran this over a period of time. And so on the right hand side, you will see the conventional fridge. And you can see that it's quite wiggly, that there are big extremes in the temperature. So I don't know, it's quite small, but hopefully you can see the highest temperature that she recorded was 14.9, which obviously would be quite dangerous for the medicines being stored there. But more worryingly, her fridge regularly went before below zero. So her lowest temperature recorded was -1.4, and of course, as we've explained, all the efficacy there would have been lost. If you turn your attention to the left-hand side, the short chill fridge, it's a much more regulated and moderate kind of graph. And you will see that the lowest temperature our fridge went to was 3.9. So perfect cooling, as we said, about the 4 degrees. On average, it was about 5 degrees. So again, not scientific and not in a laboratory, but you can see how consistent the short chill performance is. And we're not only innovating, so just on this slide, I wanted to draw your attention, we're not only innovating around the cooling and how we cool and using that water and ice. We're very keen, and if I go back to when I started, we're really passionate about the affordability of products. So what we're looking to do is bring some innovation and some cooling around how people can afford fridges. Now, very often, people have more than one pharmacy, or they have a need for cooling off multiple areas, or they have a need for several cooling solutions in one place. So what we're looking at doing is being able to offer different ways that people can access this fridge and be able to afford the unique cooling that we have. So people can do an outright purchase, but extend the maintenance and service, and we see this happening a lot. So people are really interested, and as Fowler said, one of the ongoing problems within the cold chain is actually access to affordable maintenance for your products. So we're looking at how we can do that through innovative renting schemes or pay for service models. You can do corporate rental, so you could rent a fleet of fridges, and inclusive within that would be all of the services and maintenance charges. Or if you're an individual pharmacy, we're bringing out individual models where people can rent a single fridge. They could try it before they buy it, and then they can have options to own it over time. So we're looking at how we can bring this to people in the most affordable and flexible way. And again, wanted just to kind of bring to light and bring to alive. I think Fowler alluded to it in his part of the presentation. We go beyond hopefully just having a really great technology and a really different way of cooling. What we're looking to do here, and what we really want to bring to the pharma communities that we serve through our pharma fridge, is the ability to kind of have a dedicated after sales service and comprehensive training. So we've been working within kind of the World Health Organization space in those 75 countries for about 15 years, and we know how important having access to people who can help and support you with those fridges are, and just how the need for regular and up-to-date training is really, really important. So how are we doing this, and how do we do this? We do this through hands-on workshops. So we've got Samuel on the call. So Samuel is our technical representative in East Africa. He has a team supporting him across the region, and his teams develop on-the-ground workshops, do site visits and do site training. We can do tailored programs specifically to your needs. So if we identify actually there's always an issue with people doing the wrong thing around the fridge, we could do a tailored program for you. We have manuals and guides, and again, these can be tailored to your specific requirements and things that you want to highlight. They can be adapted to local languages. We have an online support portal where people can pose questions and ask questions about the cold chain, and ask, oh, you know, I'm not sure about what I should do in the case of insulin, or where should I store this within my fridge, etc. You can ask on that kind of online port line. And also we have a technical support line. So you're able to kind of phone up or message and get an immediate kind of response to your needs. And so finally, just to kind of bring this alive, we have a special promo running for this. So if you're a bit like the lady in Lagos, and you're really intrigued by our technology, and you think that it could provide a solution to some of the problems you may be experiencing, then actually you may want to kind of get a bit more reassurance around that. So one of the things that we would be really happy to do is provide you with a fridge, and provide you with a temperature monitor where you could test it, and after that trial, then you could look to kind of we could look to work with you on that. So thank you very much for your time. I think we've thrown a lot of information at you. We're really passionate about actually the cold chain and addressing those issues and providing solutions that can help deal with those problems. And I'd really like to kind of open the floor to any questions. And yeah, myself and the team would be happy to kind of take those questions and support you with any queries that you may have. So thank you very much for your time. And yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Kerry and Fola, for that presentation. So I see we have a couple of questions that have come in, and so I think I'll just be reading through and then give your responses. So the first question is from Dr. Shital, who says patients go home with insulin put in with a few cubes of ice. In the rural areas, they store the vial in cold water. So she's asking if this insulin is still effective. So I don't know who can address that.
Yeah, I can take that question, maybe.
Okay.
So
Okay.
thank you very much. So my name is Fonom Jeng. So I'm the head of the medical department at Churchill. I'm very pleased to be here today, and thank you for the opportunity. So just to answer this question, I mean, first of all, we are not medical doctors, so we cannot say if the insulin vial that was transported was still good or not. What we can say is in our product portfolio, we have a small portable device that is called InsuliCool, that was not presented here, that can transport up to 12 vials, if I remember, of insulin, and with a temperature range between 2 to 8 degrees. So then if you are interested to know more about this product, you can liaise with Fowler, who can give you the product brochure.
All right, thank you. And the other question is, what solutions is SureChill offering to the pharmaceutical sector for organizations that I'm not sure what this means, but I think the main question here is how do you replenish the ice without power?
Okay, so the ice is replenished. So if you're in a setting where there's no power at all, the solar panels will look to work every single day, so any ice that is diminished would be replaced. So how we like to do it is that we take power when power is available, and when power isn't available, then actually that's when the water and the ice and the way that we cool, the cooling technology kicks in. So we within the mains power, so if your fridge goes out, if the power goes off, hopefully it would be back within 48 hours, and that would give that and the fridge would work perfectly well for those 48 hours. If though you were kind of approaching that time, then that would be where you'd need to think about how you would look for alternative storage. So these pharma fridges, the small pharma fridges that we're talking about, are designed to kind of work up to 48 hours without power. Every day when power is available, what it does is the fridge takes the power and it replenishes it. So when there's a point of need, so when the power goes off, then you will always have that kind of maximum amount of 48 hours without kind of storage. If you though were in an area where actually you were prone to power going out much longer than that, we do have fridges that can last up to 8 days without power. 8 days without power in the solar context, and I think 12 days then from a mains perspective. So I think there's ways that we could address it. So I think when people approach us and they want to talk to us about the cold chain, the first thing that we always talk to them about is, what is your energy context? And we look to understand that energy context. And if we believe that actually you have enough access to power to be able to kind of be able to replenish in 48 hours, then the pharma fridge is the most suitable. If it's much more difficult than that, then we look at the wider vaccine fridges. But there are very few energy contexts, I would imagine, that extend more than that 48 hours. I don't know if anybody from my team's got anything else to add on that.
None from me. I think you answered it quite well, Kerry. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for that. We have two other questions here that I think I'll read them together. The first one is there a notification when the fridge goes out of power? And at what frequency is the fridge maintenance done as per the manufacturer's recommendation?
Samuel, do you want to talk about the alerts that we have and the lights and stuff?
Now, one of the things that we notice is when the fridge is connected to the panels, the signal that you get, we have a keypad or a display panel on the fridge. So during the day, the fridge displays a green light, which actually indicates that the panels are connected. At night, the fridge displays a blue light, which shows that the temperature the optimal temperature has been achieved. So the display, there's a display panel with both a green light and a blue light, green for power and then blue for optimal temperature. These are the ones that we use to know whether we have lost power or not. Now, to the second question on the intervals of maintenance, Okay, we maintain the fridge. The maintenance required for this unit is just one on maintenance of the panels, because if installed in places where dusty, then you might want to have a routine schedule for cleaning the panels. But the fridge by itself, you rarely have to do any kind of maintenance, just to wipe off the dust and blow out the dust from the compressor and such. So if in a nutshell, would say once quarterly cleaning can be very effective for the fridge. That is for the compressor.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much.
They're designed to be very self-sufficient and to be quite low maintenance. And so actually they work like a standard fridge would, and it's just a case of good husbandry and good kind of sensible management, really. So very, very light on that kind of maintenance side.
All right, thanks for that. I think we'll just handle the next set of questions that we have. One is the cost implication of the fridge, especially the initial investment. And the other is, does the fridge allow connectivity to a SIM card, or does it use GSM module to alert pharmacy staff in case of a looming cold chain break?
So the fridge is a very affordable. We have different payment terms and different payment models that we can run through people. But on average, the pharma fridge that we've talked about a lot here has been designed to come in at about 10 times lower kind of cost than a standard kind of solar vaccine fridge. So there are significant cost benefits in looking at these fridges. They are slightly more expensive than conventional fridges, and depending on which model that you go for, if you go for the solar version, obviously there's the cost of the panels, but they are significantly lower than the cost of a normal vaccine fridge, which is very often overspec for a standard kind of pharmaceutical setting. And you talked about, does the fridge have integrated technology that will alert to power outages, etc.? So currently, no. One of the things that we brought this model to the market, it has the fridge tag, which should alert you to temperature variances. I think Samuel's explained that it will show you when there is no power going to the fridge, both in the solar and the mains version. But also we are developing technology to go into the fridge, and this will be the next kind of generation coming down the line, that will allow us to kind of have almost like an internet of things. So it will be able to help us kind of predict when people need maintenance, when perhaps the fridge would be likely to fault, and also it would perhaps alert us to when there is no power going into the fridge. So currently, no, but I think it's stuff that we're all looking to address and bring. But the fridge tag is there and designed, and the use of that fridge tag should allow you to be able to kind of be alert to any kind of temperature variances, etc.
All right, thank you for that. I think there's one on the capacity of the SureChill fridge, and then alongside that, maybe could respond to a question on what has been the adoption rate of SureChill's technology in the pharmaceutical sector compared to other sectors in agriculture and small businesses. And finally, are there any skills or development programs offered by SureChill for young professionals interested in cold chain logistics and technology?
So maybe you can address those first before we move on to the next one.
Okay, so there was quite a few questions there, wasn't there? So so the capacity, so the fridge is the same sort of capacity as a standard conventional fridge that you'd get in a home. It's designed to hold about 100 litres, and so we how would I bring this alive to you guys, make it feel real? So we can get 55 bottles of 300 millilitres into the fridge. So we're able to kind of do and hold quite a lot of products within that. So that is the model that we have. We do have bigger models that we will be bringing to the market, but currently it's that kind of that fridge under the counter size, that kind of that we're able to bring and offer you. So that was the first question. If you go back to it was talking about our presence,
Adoption rate.
Adoption rate. So the fridge is actually the Pharma fridge is fairly new to the Kenyan market. So we developed the fridge and the fridge has been around for about 12 months. But one of the things that we're really keen to do is test and learn and do trials. So I mentioned that we've been selling this fridge in Nigeria for a while. So we're very much at this kind of launch phase within Kenya. But we have tested the fridge rigorously, and we're really confident that this fridge is will be a brilliant addition to the kind of pharmaceutical setting. We have a good penetration of our other fridges across Africa and across Kenya. So we've been selling our domestic and commercial fridges within Kenya for about 4 years. And we were able to kind of, we brought that at quite a scale, and so we have have that kind of track record here. And I think the final question, the final part of that question was around what would we be doing to help and support youngsters starting off within the cold chain. So we're very much passionate about actually building sustainable cold chains, and so Sam has a team of people that work for him, and that he kind of trains and brings into our technology. So our technology is different. So he brings and supports people coming into that kind of cooling context. So we have technicians who report to him and kind of supported. But we recognise that there's a need to do more. So we're aligned to something called the African Centre of Excellence for Sustainable Cooling and Cold Chain. So they've been established for some time in Rwanda, and we were the first partner to align with them because the ongoing maintenance and technical support is something that we're really passionate about. So we've aligned with them in Rwanda, and the great news is that they have a hub and spoke model. So they have launched they're building a facility in Kenya, and again we're aligned in Kenya. So we regularly go and teach them people and their students. They have a fridge. We've donated fridges to their training complexes, so they're able to access our fridges and be trained on those. But I think it's something that we're really keen to build on, and we are talking to kind of the association about other things that we can do, as well as sessions like this. So it could be something that we could help and look to support with in that capacity.
All right, thank you for that feedback, Kerry. We still have a couple of more questions, so we are not able to finish them today. I think we'll just maybe send them over so that you can have a look. But we'll just handle a few more before we close. And at least I see Paul has shared their contacts. For those who have any direct questions, you can also just reach out to them directly. So there's a question from Dr. Prudence, who's asking, what is the recommended time interval for qualification and calibration of the fridges and temperature monitoring devices? And does SureChill perform this for free?
So the temperature monitoring devices, I believe, are under warranty for a period of time. Yeah, and I think any support that you required with that would be under that warranty. So we're not actually the manufacturers of those temperature devices, but that is something that we're also working on, about looking at how we can bring inbuilt solutions and solutions within the fridge as well.
All right, thank you. And there's someone who's asking, how do I apply for the free fridge trial, and what are the terms and conditions?
Okay, so I think on the free trial, I think it's a case of getting in touch with Fowler. So I think that's his phone number there in the middle, and his email there, or contacting us through our hello@surechill.com. And mentioning that you're a member, we'll probably look to kind of just qualify that. And then what we normally do is say that people can have access to that fridge for a month, and that fridge having that access then for a month hopefully would give them a long enough period to look at that. So and on completion of that, and when we've done that, most people don't want to hand the fridge back, so we then look at how we could perhaps support them with them buying the fridge. So so that's the only terms and conditions. It would be a loan, and people would need to look after the fridge and treat it with the due care that it was needed. But apart from that, there are no other kind of terms and conditions around that.
All right, thank you for that. Just trying to go through the questions again.
So maybe it's good to answer the question regarding qualification and calibration. So I don't know if Sam, you want to take this question, because as much as I know, there is no qualification and calibration needed for the monitoring devices that we have currently, right?
Yes, that is correct. For calibration, no need for that. The devices for the temperature probes that are connected, actually transmit the information right to the gadget or the logging device that is connected to the fridge. And then we also have a remote device where you can be able to download this data, either from your PC or from your laptop or even from your phone. So no calibration required. Just gives you that temperature and humidity data, and even the ambient temperature for the fridge where the fridge is actually located.
All right, thanks for highlighting that. There's a question on whether the fridge uses both electric power and solar power.
I can also take that. We don't have one unit that can use both AC and DC, but we have an AC and we have a DC. We have a solar fridge, which can be connected. But the concept or the technology behind each of those is the same. So both, even the AC version has a holdover period of a time depending on the size of the fridge, so it can be able to stay cold for a couple of days.
All right, thanks for that, Sam. There's a question on whether the fridge is able to completely eliminate temperature fluctuations when the door is open. Maybe you can.
Yes, I can also take that. One of the things that you noted from the slide that Kerry presented is that he actually presented a slide where the conventional fridge and the sure chill fridge. Now, what is different about the sure chill fridge is that the recovery time of when the temperature, when of opening the door, the recovery time, the fridge returning to its normal temperature is very fast because of the ice-lined walls. So the fridge actually is able to overcome the temperature spikes, and therefore you will notice that the recovery time is very small. It's less than 5 or 10 minutes. So it's able to overcome the door opening loss of temperature.
All right, thanks for that, Samuel. And I think the last question that we'll check is from Dr. Jacqueline, was asking if you have pharmaceutical freezers available that work using the same technology and affordable.
I'm happy to go on that, or do you want to go on that, Phonam?
No, you can go ahead, Kerry. I can complement if needed.
Okay, cool, perfect. So we don't have ultra low temperature freezers or freezers that work on our technology, but our fridges are manufactured through an organization called Godrej. So our vaccine fridges that is, and so Godrej have a range of ultra low temperature freezers available, and a range of freezers that are suitable for storing vaccines. So we don't have it, but we have a very trusted brand that we could introduce people to, and that we kind of work and sell on behalf. It is something that we're considering, but we haven't got our technology there yet. But Godrej are able to offer solutions, and are able to offer solutions that can work when they're very well when power is variable, and without access to that.
All right, thank you so much for that, Kerry. I don't know if you had any other person wanted to give more feedback on that. I think I had Phonomis saying something.
No, Kerry covered the subject very well. So
all right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. I don't know if there's any question, Paula, that you picked that you'd like to respond to just before we complete the session.
No, not really. I think if there's any that we've missed, maybe you can share this with us and we can follow it up later.
Okay. So I think the last one I see over here is what's the sale price for the AC Sure Chill Pharma fridge? Maybe you could address that.
Yeah, so maybe I can take that. So the AC fridge is significantly cheaper than the DC one, because obviously, to start with, it does not require the solar panels. So cost is around 80,000 Kenya shillings, and we've recently just got licensing by the Energy Regulatory Authority on these fridges. So yeah, that is a rough price indication for the AC fridge.
All right, thanks for that. I think that was the last question that we had. And at this point, I'd like to just invite maybe each one of you to just give a parting shot before we give the closing remarks.
So maybe we could start with Samuel, then Fonome, then Kerry, then Paula.
Yes, thanks. Thank you everyone for joining in the call. I want to assure the team here from the technical team that we are ready to support on installation, ready to support on after sale, and just an assurance that we have had very few concerns arising from breakages or failures of these units, because you notice that for the solar fridges, they work very few hours in a day, and therefore this will give you a very good peace of mind when you're handling the unit. So thank you very much for joining the call, and we look forward to interacting with you and doing business with you in future.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining, and thank you for the opportunity. So I can see a lot of interest then around our fridges, then and the number of attendants also is very important. So if you have any further question or interest, just liaise with our team in Nairobi. They can support you very well. So thank you so much for joining today.
Yeah, it's been a great pleasure to be able to just share with you a snapshot of SureChill's journey within the kind of vaccine and pharma space. We have a large team here in Kenya that, as Phonim said, we're here to kind of help and support you. And yeah, we'd be delighted to kind of work with more of you on understanding your cold chain problems. And then working with a solution. So we've kind of focused in on our pharma fridge, but we obviously have a wider range of vaccine fridges that are available too, and that we can talk to people on an individual basis. But it's been our pleasure to be here. Hopefully we've shared some valuable insights and given you some thought around how you go about managing your cold chain effectively. So thank you very much. Fowler?
Yeah, so I'm grateful to the PSK for giving us this opportunity and for the audience for your attention. So I know we've covered a lot, but I would just like to remind you of the key points that we talked about. We talked about the importance of an effective cold chain management. So we also looked at components of a reliable cold chain, cold storage management. So I'd like to emphasize here that for you to actually achieve the temperatures that are desired for temperature sensitive pharmaceuticals, you need to use fridges that are fit for purpose. And not only that, there's steps actually in the implementation and best practices that, if followed to the letter, will guarantee that these products are kept in the best integrity. So then I would also like to just mention our call to action. I've shared my contacts here. Please get in touch with me for more information. And then I'd just like to remind you about the special offer that we have on exclusive for PSK members to try out our fridge. And then lastly, I'd like to just mention that we have additional resources available from our website. So just visit our website. Our brochures are there. You can actually find videos there and reviews and even case studies. And yeah, please follow us on social media as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Fowler. Sorry, thank you so much for that presentation. Thank you to the SureChill team, Samuel, Fonome, Kerry. Really appreciate. I believe we've all been able to learn something. And just an encouragement to you all to just check out their website and just get more information about the fridges, and we'll also be happy to hear your feedback on your experience. So for SureChill, thank you so much for supporting this event. We really appreciate, and we're looking forward to having more sessions and probably trainings on cold chain management. So at this point, I'd like to just remind our attendees that
The event is on the PPB portal, so if you've not subscribed, kindly do so. And all the CPDs will be sent to the email address that you registered with to join this webinar. So thank you so much, and have a good evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Good night. Bye.
Thank you.